you refuse to make a loan to the needy, and the needy person cries out to the Lord, you will be considered guilty of sin. If generously to the poor and not grudgingly, the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do. There will always be someone there. That is why I'm commanding you to share your needs with the poor.
So there's really very poor, and so it's just kind of amazing to see that. And even like our house churches going out and doing being cafes for them, it was art. They really started to transform the Talking Head community, where the community is really relied on them, and so we just really see this played out, and we love that. And so with that, I just say for the new year or new wish, we encourage you to take part in this amazing family that gives, and we are here, like, amazing. We just continue to spur you on. So with that, we're just going to pray for you. God, thank you so much for this day, and we need to have this beautiful snow out, and we should have go away here safely. Just please be with us, and just open up our hearts to receive your word that raise bringing forth, and just help us to have a great time together and fellowship.
Please stand as you continue with some more singing. We'll sing
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Look,
It's working.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, we should
So I have this really bad infection now. It's on my butt. I don't know what I should
I
do.
know that my Redeemer lives, and praise for me. I know eternal life He gives from sin and sorrow free. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know eternal life He gives. I know that Lord, my Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. He will dash the holy river, the world's heart and sea. There His holy face may see when from
It'd be like that sometimes.
are free. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know eternal life He gives. I know the Lord my Redeemer lives. I know that the sins of men, saving grace is nigh. I know that He will come again to take me home on high. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know eternal life He gives. I know that Lord my Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. I know that over yonder stands a place prepared for me. A home not made with hands, most wonderful to see. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know eternal life He gives. I know the Lord Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. The morning comes, I will be flying with the angels. Free at last, I'm flying on the mountain tops we sail. Tears of joy will flow when I hear music from the heavens. Frost and winds and beat the morning when the morning comes.
Remember the whole thing. Called Jonathan, I'm a shit music videos.
When the morning comes, I'll be
Rob will do some
calling me to morning comes. When the morning comes, the shining saint is in the station, bringing all the Lord, we make goodbye and pull away. All my worldly things, I leave them sitting on the platform. No more need for dust and gold when the morning comes. When the morning comes, I sail across the crystal ocean. Saints from every age will meet me on that grand shore. There in fields of gold, the Lord is dancing with his children. No more tears, we're home to stay when the morning comes. No more tears, we're home to stay when the morning comes.
That'll show up in like 20 seconds.
Amen. Good morning. Welcome everyone to the Great Land Christian Church family. It's awesome to be here. Get all the house churches together. A special shout out for all of those that came this morning to help set up. I'm going to make you stand up. There was a bunch of you stand up. Just get up. Yeah. It's hard enough in this snowstorm. It's hard enough, knowing that we're going to get another foot plus of snow today. But then to come and serve in the morning. Fairbanks is having a great time right now. Does anybody know what's going on there?
Change retreat?
Yeah, their first ever change retreat. They have 30 disciples there. They're having a great time at their first ever retreat just for the Fairbanks folks and such. What was our theme for the evening? Treasure. Yeah, treasure hunt. For where your treasure is, there your heart be also. 2 months already gone. To 2020. How's it going? How's the hunt? You know, because you know and I know time flies. My mom always told me, Ray, it flies faster as you get older. And boy, is that true. 2 months gone. How's it been going? How's your hunt, your treasure hunt? What is your treasure? You know, of course, we've been going through the book of Matthew, which is a perfect book to talk about treasure hunt and where our hunt should be. And at the beginning of the chapter, especially Matthew chapter 5, the Sermon on the Mount, we learn all about what the hunt should be. The Beatitudes, what are they? Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the mourning. Blessed are those who thirst after righteousness, and on and on. So if you ever forget, or you're ever struggling and wondering, what is my hunt? What should the hunt be? Just go back to Matthew 5 and read through the Beatitudes. Because that's the pursuit. Because if we pursue these things, these blessings, incredible things happen for us. The things that we really desire. Right? So instead of chasing, we live a life of contentment. Instead of living a meaningless life, we can live a life full of meaning. But it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to lose focus. It's easy to just get stuck. Why'd you come to church today?
Good question, Ray.
Thank you. Could be many reasons, right? I had to. I wanted to. I felt guilty if I'd go. I want to connect with God. I hope He preaches a great lesson. So there's many reasons why we come to church. Why did you first come to church? Some of you that are here for the first time, you picked a really good couple chapters of Matthew. Yeah, that kind of sinister laugh. But Some of you have been coming a long time. Why did you first come? Yeah, I hit rock bottom. Yeah. You see, for me, I didn't want to go to church. I really wasn't one of those people that liked church. You know, I grew up going to church, but then I stopped going to church because I decided I didn't want to pretend. I decided I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to party. That's what I wanted to do. So that's what I did. And the two just didn't mesh for me. I wasn't going to go partying Saturday night and then pretend to go to church on Sunday. I'd rather sleep because I was a little hungover. Right? And so I'm not one of those people that necessarily struggle with guilt. So I just stopped going and I lived the life I wanted to live. Then my wife dragged me out to church. I was 28 and we had hit rock bottom. But you know what? Again, it wasn't church. It wasn't the church experience that got me. It was when somebody said, hey, let's sit down and look at the Bible. And I said, you know what? Absolutely, I will do that. Because I did not like church, and I did not like what church represented, or from that back, what Christianity represented in general, because I thought it was hypocritical. I thought it was full of fakeness. I thought it was full of people who just pretended. I know I could be wrong, but that's what I thought. And those are my thoughts. And so I didn't want that. But then when they said, hey, let's look at the Bible, I thought, yeah, let's look at the Bible because I don't get it. And we studied Matthew. Wow. What a great book. Because Matthew addresses my very concerns. You see, in the book of Matthew, Jesus really goes after one group of people, hardcore, relentlessly. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, the religious folks. He pulls no punches. Because Jesus also had walked into a time, had come to this earth in a time when people had lost perspective. They started to go to church because it's the right thing to do, or it makes them look good, or it makes them feel good. They lost perspective. And so Jesus shows up on the scene and he doesn't pull any punches. And that's what we're going to see here. You're going to start to see all the nice stuff is over in Matthew. Now it's Jesus going after things. Now, you always got to watch, though, what Jesus did, because what you're going to see is Jesus did what we should do. He always cared. He was always compassionate, and he always spoke the truth. Matthew chapter 15, verse 1. Then some Pharisees and teachers of the law came to Jesus. By the way, they would have never hung out before this. They hated each other. They disagreed on sound doctrine issues in the Bible. But they united because they were so upset at this Jesus guy. It's so neat. Teachers of the law came to Jesus from Jerusalem and asked, why do your disciples break the tradition of the elders? They don't wash their hands before they eat. Jesus replied, oh, I am so sorry. Let me go wash my hands. No, that's not what he said. He said, and why do you break the command of God for the sake of your tradition? For God said, honor your father and mother. And anyone who curses his father or mother must be put to death. But you say that if a man says to his father or mother, whatever help he might otherwise have received from me is a gift devoted to God, he is not to honor his father with it. Thus you nullify the word of God for the sake of your tradition. You hypocrites, Isaiah was right when he prophesied. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are rules taught by me. Obviously not a new issue if Jesus can quote Isaiah. What's going on here? We don't need to necessarily get into the details of the tradition that the Pharisees and the teachers of the law were promoting. What we really need to focus on, they got stuck in traditions and rituals, and they left their heart behind. Why? Why did they leave their heart behind? Because at first it appears to be easier to just do, to have these traditions, to have these rituals, to have these systems in place, because sometimes, no, usually, when we look at our heart, we don't really like what we see, and it's not easy to overcome. And so like them, we focus on the exterior. We focus on how we look. We focus on how we present. We focus on, because the Pharisees and the Sadducees were all about, we're going to look right. We're going to look like we know what we're doing. And they did. They were super smart. probably several PhDs in the group. No, they didn't do PhDs back then, but very educated, presented really well, because that's what it became all about. It's how you present, how you look, how you're perceived on the outside. Oh, how things don't change. Right? Isaiah brought it up. Hundreds of years later, Jesus brings it up. Thousands of years later, we bring it up. The cycle continues. The struggle is real. It's too easy for us to get stuck in the exterior instead of the interior. And that's what Jesus really wanted to focus on. Focus on the heart. Focus on what's inside. It doesn't matter what's on the outside. It matters what's on the inside. And he really goes there. He says, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. How many times have you worshiped God in vain? Why? Right? Because I so despise wanting to become or not become a Pharisee, this is really important to me. I spend a lot of time praying about this, thinking about this, looking at myself, looking at the scriptures, because I do not want to become that person. I did not want to become that hypocrite. That person that pretends Christianity just because whatever reason. And so it's important for us to look at this and ask ourselves, what traditions have you allowed into your life? What do you do out of tradition rather than out of the heart? And the desire to be with God, the desire to have this relationship with Him. We're going to see that later. And there's many things. Church, Sunday mornings, can become a tradition. Other structures or ways of doing things can become traditions. Traditions in and of themselves are not bad. It's what we do with them. It's whether or not we recognize it in our heart. Let's read on. In verse 10, Jesus called the crowd to him and said, listen and understand. What goes into a man's mouth does not make him unclean. But what comes out of the mouth, that is what makes him unclean. Then the disciples came to him and asked, do you know that the Pharisees were offended when they heard this? He replied, every plant that my heavenly Father has not planted will be pulled up by the roots. Leave them. They are blind guides. If a blind man leads a blind man, both will fall into a pit. I can't imagine this language today. How mean is that, Jesus? He should be accepting these wonderful Pharisees who are trying their best. They really are going after their heart. Jesus just is judging them. We are so soft. How would you like to be called a blind guide? See, we're more the disciples. Jesus, Pharisees were offended. I think we need to apologize. Jesus goes, no, that's not going to happen. Can you imagine that conversation? Right? You've offended someone for a good reason. And there are good reasons to offend someone. That might be hard for some of you to say, so I'm going to say it again. There are sometimes good reasons to offend people. And then they say, well, they're offended. Oh my goodness, I need to get a coffee with them and explain. And we need to have this 2-hour conversation about, I'm so sorry that I hurt your feelings in this conversation. No, Jesus did not do that. We are so hypersensitive. Instead of realizing, no, we need the truth sometimes. Sometimes we just need somebody to offend us. Maybe I'm the only one. I need to be offended, so please offend me. That's something I'll try that after. Because I'm a mess. I make a lot of mistakes. My inside, which is what Jesus is talking about here,